Petra Stienen, your report on the effects of COVID-19 on ordinary people has been adopted by the Standing Committee of the Parliamentary Assembly. Now, it points out that although we're all suffering from COVID-19 in a way, some people are more vulnerable than others. Who are they and why?
Yesterday, I spoke to a very good friend of mine who was a doctor here in The Hague, and she said, my patients don't have a proper home where they can do social distancing. I see women who are being beaten up by their husbands, but who can't go to a shelter because they're closed. I see people of different ethnic, racial backgrounds who live in different ways and who are also suffering. She said, I see obese men who are likely to contract COVID earlier and suffer more. So basically, the people who suffer more are not the people at our decision-making tables.
There are particular groups of people, though, who are at a special risk, aren't there? Yeah, the LGBTI community, immigrants, ethnic minorities. What can be done to help them over and above what is already being done for the rest of us?
Well, I think we need three things. We need a differentiation in measures. So when we talk about social distancing, a lot of the communication is very much geared to families, papa, mama, and 2 kids. But when you are in a same-sex marriage, or you're a single parent, or you are in the Netherlands, 3 million people live on their own, or for younger people, it's much harder. The second thing we need to do is a differentiation in data. We really need to know what we're talking about. And if you don't look for a differentiation in data, you can't make measures that are applicable to the right groups. And thirdly, we need a diversity of voices at the tables where these measures are being designed.
A lot of different countries are trying different approaches to deal with this. I mean, your own Prime Minister, Mark Rutte, has announced measures to try to control the spread of the pandemic. But no two countries seem to be doing exactly the same thing. And to be perfectly frank, nothing seems to be working.
Well, I think all of our leaders really are in this balancing act. On the one hand, they have to deal with the public health crisis. And on the other hand, they have to protect the human rights of their citizens. And to do this in a good way, I think we need a very inclusive, intersectional, including everybody approach. I think what we saw over the past couple of months was the tendency to say, female leaders are much better at this, but I disagree. I think it's the leaders of countries that dare to be inclusive that are more effective in dealing with this COVID crisis.
What measures would you like to see the various countries adopting that you feel will be more effective at helping everyone to cope with the spread of this pandemic?
In the Netherlands, we're looking at the example of the Irish approach, where they have a roadmap and they look at different phases for different intensities. And I think we should add to this roadmap also what it means for different groups, for young people, for elderly, for women, for single parents. The differentiation is sometimes difficult because people are tempted to have a one-size-fits-all approach. But I believe, and this is what we said in the report as well, if we have an inclusive approach where we look at gender aspects of the crisis, where we look at non-discrimination aspects, on the long run, this will protect the human rights of all of our citizens.